affordable housing? This question will be starting with you, Mr. Flett. Council on Affordable Housing no longer exists in its old form, but requirements to provide affordable housing do. State officials, interestingly enough, largely ignored a solution that was crafted right in Toms River to take unused housing stock, vacant housing stock, and create affordable housing using that. What, in your estimation, is the definition of affordable? And how would you continue the practice that was started here in Toms River?
Well, Toms River has and Ocean County has some precedents that we can build on. You have to break down your affordable into your very, very low income, severely disadvantaged people. There's a big swath of people that are working that can't afford housing right now. They earn a reasonable amount of money, but they're not high enough income to afford housing. I would approach it, again, from a systemic value. What makes housing too expensive? There's additions to the cost of housing, and as an engineer, I can quantify specifically how we can reduce the cost of all housing, starting with the review process at the local level and at the DEP level. It takes 5 years minimum to get approval to build a new development, whether it's 12 houses, 1,200 houses. I would absolutely take an axe to the red tape that we have in New Jersey, starting with DEP, and facilitate local jobs by constructing affordable housing similar to what I grew up in as a kid.
Mr. Brush?
Thank you, Tom. Over the years, over the previous decades, Toms River was never developed properly. Toms River has the highest number of single-family units in the state of New Jersey, any municipality. So therefore, the Council on Affordable Housing came down on Toms River and said, you have to put up 18 units of affordable housing. And so they brought it upon themselves. So we tried to address the problem. We had an opportunity in Silverton, 1 block in from Hooper Avenue, to acquire some property and to build 12 nice units right behind the Silverton Hub there. And the council wouldn't go along with it because there was a room full of people who were afraid and were opposed to it. I supported that. If you have the will, it can be done. The churches, the clergy, the nonprofits are the ones who are going to do the affordable housing in this town, and I serve on 2 of those boards, Habitat for Humanity and the Shore Community Land Trust, who did a nice project over on Walnut Street, Tom, while you were mayor.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Kelleher?
Affordable housing is a serious question. There's no question I agree with some of what has been said here already. I disagree that it takes 5 years to get a development done in Toms River. You could get one approved in about a week because there's nothing else on the agenda because of the economy. COA has been a real stumbling block. They had a deadline beyond which we couldn't go back and count affordable housing. There's a lot of housing in Toms River that would qualify. COA drew an artificial line and said, you got to add on to that. They added under the round 3 regulations, we had to add another 1,800 units, and there's just a question of zoning and so on having to do with that. I heard what Paul said about that one piece of property up there in Silverton. I have to agree that maybe that should have been done. But the governor did the right thing by saying, let's get COA out of COA and put them over in a division of local government, and let's try and improve that stumbling block.
Thank you, sir.
And the Commissioner of Community Affairs is a woman who grew up in Toms River, went to our public school system.
High school East.
Lori Griffin, yeah, so that's a good connection. In fact, she was my environmental attorney when I was mayor.
She's a very capable person.
Now let's take this one step further down the road. We'll talk about the homeless. Mr. Brush.
Well, as I said,
The unemployment rate.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were.
The unemployment rate is just under 10% countywide, and it's staying there. It's transformed the face of homelessness from unattached individual people to entire families. What should the township's responsibility be when circumstances force people onto the streets that they once paid for with their tax money?
Well, as long as people understand that the county the County Board of Social Services took over the provision for homeless people who seek assistance, quite a few years ago, maybe 15 years ago, so it's a county function. But quite frankly, I think the county just doesn't want to face up to this problem of providing shelter for the homeless, and they should, because it's a county-wide, it's a regional problem. All right? They don't want to face up to it, and they've told me personally, when I was mayor, it's not our responsibility. Well, I disagree with the county freeholders on that one. The ones who are actually accomplishing things are the nonprofits, the churches, the clergy, are actually moving forward. I know because, I'm a volunteer with the Shore Community Land Trust, which was started with the cooperation of the township, by the way. And I think they're going to make some progress in the near future on that. Also, Habitat for Humanity has expanded their mission to more than just building one house a year. We're trying to do more than one house a year, but we're also doing a Brush with Kindness, which reaches out to really hundreds of people who need some help in the place where they're living. So it's government is not really stepping up to the plate where they should, but the community is.
Mr. Kelleher?
Homelessness
And
is...
I'm not blaming Mayor Kelleher, please understand.
No, I understand that, no. And I think we all agree homelessness is a pathetic
Yeah.
problem here in Toms River. When I was a prosecutor, or since I've been the mayor, I've gone with the chief out into the woods, sometimes on bitter cold days, to entice some of these people that live in makeshift tents and so on, to come with us. We'll bring you to a motel, hot shower, nice bed, food. And a lot of them refuse to go. And there's a whole mix of people. There are some people that are down on their luck and want to get off that. There's some people who don't. There are a lot of people who really aren't capable of taking care of themselves too. The private sector is doing the best job of all. How big a shelter do you build? Who comes and you build it and they don't want to go is a serious problem. But we're working very closely with a number of these different church organizations to try and at least alleviate that problem. Hopefully, if you get people into some kind of a shelter and get some structure in their life, you can have them avail themselves of a lot of the social services that are available, maybe get jobs and so on. But when they closed some of these institutions like Marlboro, it was a two-pronged thing: close the big institutions and treat it in the town. Only one prong of that fork was accomplished, and that was they closed the institution. A lot of these people should not be out on the street. That is a serious problem.
Mr. Flett?
The question of homelessness has been expanded recently with the severe and prolonged downturn in the economy. The population of homeless now includes people who are your traditional homeless, who are severely disadvantaged, a severe drug problem, a mental problem, just cannot live inside of a structure. I've worked with the Salvation Army to determine how many homeless people there are, where they are, what their situation is. I've interviewed them. I have a homeless person working on my staff. I've worked for low-income housing. Thumbs up.
Wrapping up?
It's a long, I'd like to speak at length on that.
And I would love to give you that time.
Okay.
Can I just add a quick comment?
Quick
Agreeing with these gentlemen, the homeless people really, more than anything, they just need a place to get cleaned up, get a shower, get some fresh clothing, and some counseling, and find a place where they can go, because a lot of them do work. They work part-time, but they just need a place to do that. It's not long-term housing that we're talking about.
And real jobs to a lot of these
Yeah, real
people are
jobs.
former professionals, in fact, that are living in
Absolutely.
the woods, yes.